an academic, an ally, and an advocate. I have never been politically involved in my life until 2019. It started with putting up the lawn sign, "Protect Our Parks," and moved on to advocating for education and healthcare. After banging my head against the UCP brick wall, like everybody else here, it is clear that this government refuses to listen to anyone not in line with their profits, power, and privatization agenda. I am extremely concerned about the changes to public education and healthcare, and I am here on behalf of the children, our children's children, and the next 7 generations. So as a teacher, we're going to have a little quiz. It's easy, it's just yes, no. So I'm going to ask you a question, you can respond. Did we ask for funding freezes and cuts to public education and post-secondary? Did we ask for increased class sizes, reduced resources, loss of supports for students with disabilities, and now forced teacher layoffs of over 3,000 teachers in June? Did we ask for a $64 million world-class curriculum to be shredded and replaced by an outdated, whitewashed Frankenstein curriculum created by Jason Kenney's buddies? Did we ask for millions of dollars of public education funding to be diverted into collegiate and charter schools who exclude students who do not meet their exclusive criteria, and ask for increased funding for private schools? Did we ask for the decimation of funding to the Alberta School Councils Association so that parents no longer have a collective voice? Did we ask for infringement on academic freedom? In the past 5 years, the UCP government has been running public education like the bullies on the playground, taking lunch money from the vulnerable children, knocking them to the ground, outing them, and then telling parents they have parental choice. None of this is a choice. These changes are being forced on Albertans by an out-of-control government that is steamrolling straight ahead with no regard for our children's future. Enough is enough. So, here's a little social studies lesson on democracy. If we allow this premier and this government to continue lying and making rapid and drastic changes behind our backs, we are headed directly towards private education and private healthcare, and the decimation of Alberta that we know and love. We are not facing issues that will be resolved by a far-right extremist government. This UCP is not a normal government. This is not your grandpa's progressive conservative government. This is not democracy. This government, this UCP government, is based on privilege, big money, entitlement, arrogance, white supremacy, and antiquated fringe ideology. And I'm going to add in there religious trauma. So former UCP, former progressive conservative MLA Doug Griffiths wrote a brilliant book called 13 Ways to Kill Your Community. The UCP is clearly writing the book 13 Ways to Kill Your Province. Deceive yourself. Don't cooperate. Live in the past. Reject everything new. Ignore outsiders and experts. Grow complacent. And don't take responsibility for anything. I cannot and do not want to comprehend the damage the UCP will do in the next 3.5 years.
We gotta fight them.
We do, and I'm gonna give you a little lesson in social justice how. So, political science, Jared Wesley, and if you haven't read his article in the Tyee, you can get it online. If you haven't listened to his recent interview, you can hear it online as well. He described the UCP government as radical, dangerous, authoritarian government that is a threat to democracy, not just in Alberta, but in Canada. He described Danielle Smith, our premier, as dangerous and crazy. He is not wrong. This is not the Alberta I grew up in. I grew up in rural Alberta. I know rural, I know urban. This is not the Alberta I grew up in. The Alberta I know cares about the well-being of all of our neighbors and creating and sharing the resources and the services that make life livable and affordable. So, a little lesson on social justice. We first have to shout into the wind. We have to get it out. But then we have to resist. We have to say no. We have to stand together like this and demand better. Not just by pointing out the problems, but by seeking real solutions. I know by this time, after 5 years of this government, we are tired of banging our heads against this brick wall. But we cannot stop. Now is the time to speak truth to power. Write your MLA, and I always CC the opposition. I know that my NDP MLA knows me on a first name basis, and I'm sure she shakes her head when she gets another email. And you know what? The UCP never respond. No, or they respond with some bullshit form letter that means absolutely nothing. It's just blah, blah, blah. This is not democracy, this is not real politics. So, write the editor of your local paper. Fire off those letters, get them into the public. Talk to your neighbors and listen to what our political and community experts are saying. We have the solutions as Albertans. We simply need to be heard by a real democratic government. So we need to demand the ethical, collaborative, and problem-solving leadership we deserve and need now and in the future for the next 7 generations. A leadership that lifts Albertans up and not pummels them to the ground. We need to have the courage to change the things we cannot accept. And it starts right here, right now, by all of us saying, enough is enough.
Thank you. That's really,